And we're back, everyone, with Game 2 of this Best of 5 series, semifinals of the Noxus division between MG Nitro and 7men. And Game 1 brought us a bit of a surprise, as 7men opted to actually surrender here in Game 1 at about 20 minutes. It was an extremely rough game for them here, as they did really sort of struggle to find anything, and given the way the game was going, 20-5 the score there, they did finally opt to just surrender and go into Game 2. They did experiment a little bit with a Rammus pick here for Teeman. It didn't work out, and so here we are in the picks and bans of Game 2. And for Game 2, it's going to be 7men on the blue side. No change to their roster. No change to MG Nitro's roster either. And they are on the red side here. And in terms of bans, 7men banning out the Mordekaiser, Vayne, Ornn, Braum, and Leona here. So that Mordekaiser for only Lewis was definitely an issue for them. They want to make sure they don't give it over. An interesting Ornn ban. I'm not sure that was necessary against only Lewis. MG Nitro showing that they want to play aggressive here. And for MG Nitro, again with the Vi, Ashe, and Kill bans, those were solid and standard. We do see the Gnar ban coming out from MG Nitro as well. Unfortunately, we don't have a record of what the other missing ban here was from MG Nitro. And in terms of picks, 7men still going with the Galio once again here for the first pick. And then they go Cassiopeia, Ezreal, Kayn, and Aatrox. So most likely going to be a Galio, Ezreal bot lane here. So it will be the Galio going to the Ascendant rather than into the mid lane, which is what we saw MG Piglet play in Game 1. I'm surprised they picked the Ezreal once again for Mokstar here. Did struggle a bit into lane and did take a bit of time to scale. So given the speed of the game, it didn't really work well. And they've got a Cassiopeia as well, which again is a scaling champion. That said, Alpels played amazingly on it in the quarterfinals, and it was outputting a lot of damage already at the 10-minute mark. So perhaps we'll see that again here, and a more standard pick this time for Teeman in the jungle. It's going to be that Kayn with the Aatrox for Brighton Bush. That was the other ban in Game 1, and it looks like it got through here in Game 2. So definitely looking forward to Brighton Bush reprising his dominance here on the Aatrox from the quarterfinals. As for MG Nitro, they don't have a ton of changes here. They first picked that Hecarim again for a throw guard. It worked very, very well in Game 1. He didn't find kills, but he did find a lot of assists and definitely helped to control the pace of the game. The Orianna this time for MG Piglet in the mid lane with his Galio picked away from him does still serve a very strong team fight sort of role there for themselves. And to be fair, he didn't really use the heroic entrance on Galio, so I don't think it's that big a loss for him to switch over to a different sort of team fighting mid laner. Kai'Sa once again for boat here, but no Nautilus this time for I'm very upset. So he'll be forced onto a different champion. He's gonna go with that Nautilus here, and then Renekton for only Lewis in that top lane against the Aatrox here. So again, a very early game focused team here for MG Nitro, and why fix what ain't broke? It worked for them in Game 1, and it worked extremely well. So they're very comfortable running it back again in terms of that draft. And now we're on to the Summoner's Rift here. It is once again MG Nitro on the red side, who's in the lead in this series, having won Game 1. 7men on the blue side right now, trying to look for that win. And despite the dominant nature of MG Nitro's Game 1 win, forcing a surrender out, given how Noxus likes to play out, I'm not actually thinking that MG Nitro is going to 3-0 sweep this one necessarily, because both teams, we saw in the quarterfinals as well, even when 7men played against Vengeful Reapers, the games did get pretty one-sided within the game, but the series went back and forth to the full 5 games here, and that's more what I'm expecting, because 7men have shown in the quarterfinals that they do adapt extremely well when they lose a game. That being said, I hold my reservations about their composition here. There's not a lot of synergy between their picks, which is typical of 7men. They do often pick sort of strong lane, strong individual champions here, and then try and win through lane, and that might be what they need against MG Nitro. My only concern again is the Ezreal Cassiopeia do take time to scale up here, and MG Nitro's picks as well. They do have some team fight synergy. The sort of the depth charge combined with the Onslaught of Shadows and the Command Shockwave is extremely strong if you can land it on multiple people. But with the way 7men play, I don't expect them to play grouped up here. They are looking for the chaotic sort of fights stretching out everywhere. And again, my focus is going to be on this top lane between Only Lewis and Bright in Bush here. Both these players have shown to be extremely proficient on sort of carry top laners here. So I am expecting them to, the winner of this top lane matchup, to really be able to snowball it across the map. And for 7men, they'll have to watch that bot lane as well. Mokstar and the Ascendant did really struggle against Bolt, and I'm very upset in game 1. And they have to make sure they don't end up falling too far behind again, and that they get to scale up here, or they might have a repeat of game 1 here. Not touching too much into the mid lane because Piglet and Alpals have both shown that they're very, very safe laners here. Alpals does often look for kills, but on this Cassiopeia, it will be a bit of an issue. Instead, it will most likely be the junglers who will influence the lane. And a bit of a change here. Only Lewis not running the teleport, he's running the ignite. So he's looking for lane dominance. And a Throguard not running the ghost, he's actually running exhaust this game. So very interesting change up here from a Throguard when that ghost works so well for him. Only Lewis starting to look for that fight against Bright in Bush, and actually had to flash away to dodge out the damage. Teemin now looking the top side, and with no flash available, it could be a risky thing, but he's going to be able to get first blood with that ignite. And is he going to turn this around? His spells are not available. He will go down to Teemin, was not able to buy time for a Throguard to show up, and a Throguard is kind of low on health, has to be careful, will get spotted out by the ward, so Teemin able to back out here. So well played from Only Lewis to be able to find himself that kill, able to sort of balance that out there. But Teemin, again, very, very aggressive early jungler. Is the first jungler pull the trigger, make moves, and now a Throguard has to be careful. A teleport did come in from Bright and Bush, and that's going to leave a Throguard being collapsed on by 3 Alpals. Now with that miasma laid down, is following up on the damage. A Throguard going to get real low here, but will be able to survive for now. The damage not quite there for Alpals. It's going to give Teemin control over this top side scuttle. Will give a bit of vision as well as letting Teemin continue the dominance in the jungle. He is up quite a lot of CS here. And Bright and Bush, despite teleporting back to lane, is actually behind in terms of experience and CS as well. And so Only Lewis benefiting a little bit from that. Came back with 3 long swords here. 1 for each hand and a spare in his trunk as well. Able to trade back. You can see how much damage he's doing onto Bright and Bush. So he's just looking to continue bullying out Bright and Bush there. And Teemin now this time, the one who potentially is going to get collapsed on here. But a good dash over the wall. A Throguard not going to be able to find him. And a Throguard is a level down as well, so will struggle in these fights. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, the Ascendant has to be careful. Does have flash available. The Dredge line going to miss just a bit short. If that had hit, they probably would have been able to force the flash out of the Ascendant here, but it doesn't, and so they will have to back out instead. I'm very upset, constantly out of lane as he's trying to back up a Throguard here, trying to make sure a Throguard doesn't fall too far behind. The smite comes out. They will be able to secure that bot side scuttle, and they will be just fine for now. And that is the strength of having your bot lane be the dominant bot lane here. They do have priority, and you could see that Mokstar and the Ascendant just couldn't quite go and reinforce their jungler here. So despite Teemin being the stronger jungler, it actually goes to Throguard instead in that bot side. And we'll have to see how that ultimately ends up influencing a lot of these bot side fights. The Mountain Drake is up and available, and we did see them getting vision around it. And it is going to be MG Boat coming back with that pickaxe here. We saw this matchup last game already, the Kai'Sa versus the Ezreal, and Kai'Sa having a bit of an easier build path here into the mid game. Yes, they both want to build Manamune, which means neither of them suffer from that particular sort of weak early game, but the difference is both on the Kai'Sa can look to build the damage first. Topside, Bright and Bush able to fire back onto Only Lewis there. A little bit surprising. I think Only Lewis was a little overconfident. And Bright and Bush with that grasp of the Undying, it is actually working out better for him than the Conqueror here that Only Lewis has. And the nerf to Conqueror about a patch back, or 2 patches back here, certainly made it very difficult for Aatrox to stack it quite as fast. And Bright and Bush showing that grasp is a huge viable alternative. and is doing extremely well for himself here in that top lane, and that will give him a nice bit of CS advantage, a level advantage as well. As he hits 6 first here, will go back to shop as only Lewis comes back to lane with that Tiamat. And so far, Throguard struggling a bit more in game 2 here, has not found the success that he did in game 1 in the early game, firing back, looking for sort of brawls. He did find the success at the Dragon Pit with the assistance of his bot lane, and we'll have to see if that's what he opts to do. Meanwhile, Piglet has to be careful. He's going to get caught out here by T-Min and Alpals, but he's actually going to flash away, interestingly enough. He's not going to stick around. Did not want to risk, getting slowed down by that Petrifying Gaze here from Alpals. And it's actually 7 men with their composition right now. They're finding big advantages in the mid lane, in the jungle, and it's starting to snowball a bit into that top lane as well, as only Lewis looking to trade against Bright and Bush. Road Ender coming out here, and he's gonna abuse only Lewis. Finally, the Fury of the Sands coming out, the Ignite as well, and only Lewis was just pretending to be dead there. He manages to turn things around, and now T-Min looking to clean up a bit. Oh, we do see the teleport come out. Can T-Min find the kill? No, he can't! A beautiful turnaround, and that's only Lewis able to find one and gift one over to MG Piglet as well, so that the teleport was not a complete waste of time. And that is MG Nitro firing back again. The score at about 8 minutes, 3-2 in favor of MG Nitro. This is exactly what happened in game 1 here, where MG Nitro found about 1,000 gold lead, and in the Nyx fight just ballooned out of control. And it's going to be on 7 men to try and make sure that doesn't happen again. The bright side of this all is that the kills aren't stacking onto MG Bolt like it did in game 1 here. MG Bolt able to continue finding himself a CS lead, but is nowhere near as dominant as game 1. Instead, a lot of the sort of gold here for the side of MG Nitro is going to be sitting in that top lane instead. And that is still a sizable lead for only Lewis. We have seen him look to take over games before. In game 1, he did find a substantial lead and was able to bully out Bright and Bush, who was playing the Ornn, the tank, who just had no lane presence whatsoever here. So we'll have to see if only Lewis is capable of doing that as well in this game too. Again, Mookstar opting to go that tier build start that we see a lot of Ezreals do. It's going to put him in a bit of a hole should any fight break out in that bot side here. MG Boat not stacking the tier just yet. With the pickaxe instead has a lot more strength, but top side, only Lewis looking to continue cementing his lead. We see a Throguard coming in, the exhaust onto Bright and Bush, the onslaught of shadows as well, and the CC here is disgusting. They're trying to turn this around. Can they do it though? T-Min has arrived, and it will be Bright and Bush going down, but only Lewis has to be able to try and survive here. T-Min taking a lot of damage. Gonna use that Kayn ultimate once again, but we saw this before. He does manage to turn it around this time. Now a Throguard looking to find T-Min. Can he do it? The minions just throwing in a little bit of backup, and a Throguard able to secure that one. So it will be another 2-for-1 in that top lane here. And it's going to be a Throguard surviving to push this wave in here. And so far looking like MG Nitro just winning this game of inches. Every time they get the fights, they're coming out with just one more kill than 7 men here. They're small leads, but it can kind of snowball and grow here. Mookstar interestingly choosing to Arcane Shift into MG Boat here, but he does manage to land all the skill shots, and that is going to give him a decent chunk of damage. He's going to win the 1v1 for now. I'm very upset coming in using the Dredge. I don't think he actually managed to get that one, but his Ascendant taunting in the Ignite as well, coming down onto MG Bolt. They're looking for the kill. He's gonna heroic entrance his way out of the fight, but will get nailed by the depth charge, just blowing him out of the water there from I'm Very Upset. And I'm Very Upset actually securing the first kill off the bot lane here. But the fact that Mookstar survives is a bit of a consolation prize. He can continue farming. He's got a little bit of kill pressure, and we now see T-Min looking to try and find himself a kill here. MG Boat running away, and a flash from I'm Very Upset to keep him safe. Dredge line comes out. I'm not sure he wanted them to hit though. If he did, he might have died here. And now a Throguard is here. The ultimate not available. Neither is the exhaust. And it is going to be MG Boat running into the backline looking for Mookstar. He finds him, but the True Shot Barrage is going to be able to find him. Very Upset. And again, MG Nitro coming up with just one more kill here. They trade 2-for-1, and they are ballooning their lead here. Mid lane, Alplaus having to flash away from MG Piglet to dodge out the command shockwave. He's gonna live on just barely any health. There's single digits after that trade. And 7men starting to look like they might be going under once again as we begin to approach the end of the early game phase here. And this will also be the first dragon finally going down to MG Nitro. A bit of a late first drag here. It will be the Mountain Drake. Neither team really wanting to prioritize that one is one of the reasons why it's taken so long for it to go down. We'll give a bit of tankiness. Not really huge in the grand scheme of things. The next Drake will be Cloud Drake once more. Only Lewis sort of baiting Bright and Bush here. But is he going to win this trade? I don't know if he will. The slice and dice coming across. Just barely going to be able to win that one out. The Ignite, though, in this top lane has been doing so much work for Only Lewis. And despite Bright and Bush being down right now, he's actually been doing amazingly well trying to keep himself alive and answering back in these trades. The slice comes out, but the dice will not be proc there, and it will be Only Lewis going down once again to Teeman. And Teeman actually benefiting from a lot of these top lane brawls here. Bot side Death Charge comes out. It's going to land on both Mookstar and the Ascendant, but it really won't find anything. Boat was not quite ready and in position to follow up just yet here. We do see the Manamunes coming out for both ADCs right now. They are going to be stacking here, and it is going to be Mookstar with his closest to completion at 310 versus the only 65 right now for MG Bolt, because he did start stacking the tier. But honestly speaking, once Manamune is completed, it does stack fairly quickly, even without spamming your spells, so should not be too much of an issue. I'm very upset. Roaming to that mid lane, looking to try and find something, but will get spotted out by a control ward that will immediately get cleared. And knowing that Teeman was there, that's going to free a throw guard up to go and find this Herald in the top side here. And much like in game 1, the plan for 7men at this point is extremely simple. It's just survive and scale. They've sort of doubled down on the scaling surprisingly here. And Teeman going in. Did he manage to steal the Herald? Unfortunately not. It is going to be a throw guard getting that one, but because Alpal's collapsing, they actually managed to pick up both Piglet and a throw guard there. So despite losing the Herald, they do manage to answer back and find themselves little bits of advantages here, closing the kill gap ever so slightly. And again, Only Lewis just popping in, trying to trade against Bright and Bush. Bright and Bush, he's 1-4-2, but you wouldn't be able to tell at all from the way he's been trading against Only Lewis and his ability to just CS so well here in the top lane. And that's why I was a little sad they put him on a tank here in game 1. He has shown himself to be an extremely capable carry player, and you can see it here. Despite struggling and dying a lot in lane, he's still doing perfectly fine on this Aatrox, and conventional wisdom has it that Renekton does fall off in the late game, whereas Aatrox does skill up a little better. So again, as long as he can sort of go even here, Bright and Bush should benefit here in the top lane and be able to skill up into the mid to late game. Alpels as well on this Cassiopeia seems to have gone past that early weak game that Cassiopeia usually has started stacking that Archangel's staff here for himself as well. And Bright and Bush has to be careful. He's getting ignited under turret, and the Fury of the Sands will keep Only Lewis safe. Only Lewis getting once again a solo kill in that top side, and a throw guard learning from his previous lessons with Teeman usually immediately following up has come up here. They're going to look for the first turret of the game. And wisely, they're holding off on dropping Shelly. They don't need Shelly. Instead, MG Nitro picked themselves up first turret once again here and snowball their lead in that top side. I'm very upset. Now comes in. He does land the dredge line onto Alpals. A point blank miasma not going to land, but will dissuade any follow-up, and Alpals will be able to get out for now. With this many people in the top lane, it's got to come from somewhere. The question is, where have they left exposed here? Shelly going to finally be dropped onto this inner turret. Can it get the charge off? Yes, she can. Will immediately go down, though unfortunately for 7men, they couldn't quite stop it. They were pretty close, just about 700 more health to take down Shelly before the charge, but they don't find it, and the damage goes down instead. And for now, despite losing a chunk of damage on that top lane, it's not the end of the world here for the side of 7men. It didn't go down, unlike last game here where we saw it being so low that it was just a pressure point for 7men. see a bunch of pings coming down. They're looking to either set up an invade, or it looks like they're looking for a gank into this bot side potentially, or the red buff. Unfortunately for them, the red buff not coming up for another 3 minutes. They don't have the timer on that though. They're now looking to go onto this bot lane potentially. I'm very upset, and the throw guard both coming in from the side. The dredge line lands, and that's going to be effectively a death sentence here. The depth charge coming out onto the Ascendant as well. This is a support Galio. He's nowhere near as tanky or as damaging. We do see, I'm very upset, finally going down here in the bot side, and in the mid lane, it's going to be Piglet running away. Unfortunately for him, the Petrifying Gaze might not stun, but it does slow. And they managed to answer back. That's going to be a 2-for-2 across the two teams here. And 7 men answering back so well. This Cassiopeia pick for Alpel is doing so much work. In the quarterfinals, we saw him just dominating with it come the mid game, and it's looking like he's set on track to do that again, as he's 3-0 right now on the Snake Lady. Top lane, Brighton Bush flashing over the wall, but unfortunately it's not to safety here. He still has to run into the Crocodile one way or another, and only Lewis starting to pop off here in the top side. He's 6-4-2, and we criticized game 1 Brighton Bush, the way he played his Ornn in the extended lane where he was constantly overextended. It's looking like this habit is going to carry over onto Aatrox as well, as we see him pushed really far up with insufficient wards, trying to fight against only Lewis here, who's now a full completed item up, has built that black cleaver on top of the Tiamat and top of the Bilgewater Cutlass as well. And you look over to Brighton Bush, what does he have? He's got a Phage, he's got a Warhammer, he's got a Kindle Gem, he's got components, nothing really built yet. Now I'm very upset looking to sneak something here, but he misses the Dredge line on the Ascendant. He waited a little bit too long there, and the Ascendant opting to go down instead of up means that they will not be able to avenge the death of that control ward here. And the Ascendant though, because he did go down, he goes back up, and he's going to take a bunch of punishment for it. We see a potentially full 5v5 maybe shaping up here. Where is a throw guard? He's still back in base here, and I'm very upset, also extremely low. So both supports low for now. We do see the Ascendant going back to base, and he does have the heroic entrance, so can just look to rejoin his team shortly here. That's why he can afford to base so comfortably. And a throw guard now coming out of base has decided to build an Executioner's Calling here. They're trying to cut Alpel's healing on the Poison Fang. They're able to heal up on poisoned targets. Is going to be looking for that. Is the throw guard going to take the blast cone over? It might be a little risky here. He'll drop himself into the middle of 4. He does. So the onslaught of shadows coming out. He's looking for Muxar, but Muxar able to get away. I'm very upset going golden to try and buy some time. We see the command shockwave coming out as well. It does land onto 3, and that's going to be kills all over. The only casualty right now, it's going to be, I'm very upset, but he's already so low. 1 for 4 trade, pardon me. Going to be absolutely worth it right now for the side of MG Nitro, and they're going to be able to pick up their second Drake of the game. It's going to be the Cloud Drake, and that's going to again be a good bonus for them here. More shockwaves, more depth charges, and more onslaughts of shadows. But worrisomely for them, it's going to be the Inferno map here. That means we could potentially see 7 men stack 4 Infernals or 2 for MG Nitro here. And we'll have to see if the game even goes that long here, because MG Nitro, we saw how good they are at pushing a lead. They aren't quite as strong as they were in game 1 at this point. It's 17-10. 7 men didn't even get double-digit kills in game 1 here, and we are now past the 20-minute mark. So looking like they're much better position. I don't expect 7 men will surrender the same way they did. Dredge line comes out, and we see the Arcane Shift having to be used prematurely here for Muxar, but they do get, I'm very upset, almost dead. And they are looking to turn it around. Can they do it? The Winds of War comes out, and Muxar getting himself 2 kills here. Will he survive though? Because a throw guard is just charging in. No ghost for him this time. Means he has to eat all the damage. The exhaust comes down, and he'll be able to spin his scythe there to win that trade. It's going to be a 2-for-2 in that bot lane. And in the meantime, we did miss a kill in the top lane where only Lewis gets yet another kill on Brighton Bush. The difference though, he's full health this time. So Teemin, no easy pickings to try and find in the top side this time. And only Lewis sitting on a 500 gold bounty is absolutely dominating the top side here. Mid lane, we do see Piglet just poking onto Alpals. He's been doing that all game, but has yet to find a solo kill there onto Alpals. Meanwhile, Teeman has to be careful. He doesn't want to overextend. We've seen that happen with Bright and Bush so many times here, where he just overextends a little bit, and next thing you know, only Lewis turns around, turns on the Fury of the Sand, and it's a situation where he kind of goes, haha, I tricked you. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, Petrifying Gaze lands. They're going to be able to shred down. I'm very upset here. Heroic Entrance coming across. Again, a point-blank Heroic Entrance means he has to eat a ton of damage, and so it is going to be the Ascendant going down to MG Piglet here, and the supports trading their lives for now. Trogard here now looking for the damage. The Onslaught of Shadows lands. It is good. Can he find Alpals? Maybe he can. It's going to be the Kaiser W finishing that one off though, and Teeman will go down. And once again, MG Nitro coming up with the win in this 2-for-3 raid here. And it's a little scary as MG Bolt starting to find him some kills here. He's 6-1-7 here. Again, this is pretty much where 7men surrendered last game, and MG Bolt is in the same situation. He's got the Mana Mune stacking up, almost got the Mira Mana. He's got the Rage Blade as well, and he's starting to build himself that Gnasher's Tooth with the Stinger here. Difference, Mookstar this time has the Trinity Force completed and the Mira Mana as well. So this is sort of that strong point for Ezreal here. Mookstar has to start making some plays in this position right now where he's got the stronger 1v1, but I'm very upset, looking to make sure it's never really a 1v1 as he continues roaming around, making sure that MG Bolt always has some sort of support nearby. And it is going to be the Dredge line coming out onto the Ascendant here. But it's a 2v3 situation. I'm not sure they want to go in for that. And you can see Mookstar, look at the way he's punishing. No Iceborne from this time. And again, the Dredge line from, I'm very upset. I'm not sure that's the right call. He just Dredge lines his way into death here. Perhaps should have used it to try and get away. And this should be a guaranteed outer turret here for the side of 7men. They definitely need it for themselves. They are down 0-3. A Trogard coming in. He's going to onslaught his way back out of the fight here. And that is the turret now going down. A Trogard has to be careful. They're extremely low here. Is there going to be enough damage? There will be certainly to kill MG Bolt, as it's going to be Mookstar finding the kill, taking advantage of his strength there. And Trogard has to be careful. He's so low. He cannot afford to stick around. Meanwhile, only Lewis continuing to split push in that top side here. He's doing work right now in this 1v1 against Bright and Bush. And it's actually looking like a lot more of an even mid-game here, as we do see Alpals skilling up to safety on this Cassiopeia. Now has the Rylai's completed as well as the Archangel Staff. Only Lewis diving under turret. Ascendant missing the Justice Punch here will mean that only Lewis will be able to get away from under the turret. He's getting greedy though. He's looking for Mookstar and he's gonna go down. And ladies and gents, we have ourselves a brawl here in game 2. Both teams just looking to kill each other non-stop thus far. Dragon is spawned, and it's going to be MG Nitro with priority on this one. They're going to look to pick this one up, but they do have to be careful. Alpals and Mookstar are here. They are sort of the carries. They've got a lot of damage as well. Petrifying Gaze not quite yet available, but should be up in a couple of seconds here. Team in here as well. The depth charge comes out, and it's going to be a Trogard aggressively going in with both to boot as well. The True Shot Barrage not going to find anyone, but Mookstar looking to win this 1v1. But Teeman was actually hiding there, so it's a 2v1, and it's looking like 7 men are starting to win this one. MG Piglet flashing over the wall. He's going to go golden, but that's just going to buy a split second because everybody was waiting for him to come out there of stasis. And 7 men winning their first major team fight here of game 2. They trade 4-for-0 here. And it's kind of a huge marker, a huge turnaround, because 7 men, this is their watershed moment where they sort of turn it around. They are starting to win these team fights. Only Lewis was not there with the rest of the team. You're starting to see now, he didn't take teleport, he took ignite, and yes, he won and dominated the lane, but unlike in game 1, they couldn't quite close it out in time. And if they can't close it out, this now gives a chance for 7 men to come back in. And 7 men, if At this point they've hit sort of that break-even point. Like I said, the Liandry's now completed for Alpals. This is more than just the core items. You've got 3 completed items on Alpals. You look over to Piglet. What does he have? Luden's and Zhonya's Hourglass. Sure, it's a bit more safety, it's a bit more damage, but it's nothing compared to what Alpals can do in extended fights. MG Boat as well now completed the Nashor's Tooth, but the Mirror Man is still not complete at this point in time, surprisingly. And you look over to Muxtar, well, he's got his 3-item spike as well as an Executioner's Calling to boot to try and cut some of the healing from Only Lewis, from a Throw Guard, and from MG Boat as well. And he's able to just kite around. This is not the Aphelios Ezreal matchup where Aphelios just ultimately outscales Ezreal there. Instead, the range advantage, the kite ability of Muxtar is going to make it very, very hard for Boat to win this one. But we do see now the Depth Charge comes out. MG Boat able to follow up with the Kai'Sa ultimate as well. That's going to be a very, very dead Kayn here. And 7 men have to avoid getting caught out like that. If they do, they die here. You can see how quickly Team In got blown up. They don't have a real tank right now. The Ascendant is not going tank either. He went Zhonya's Hourglass. He's looking for that sort of tanky build, and now that's going to mean MG Nitro going for Baron, but they are getting caught out. Alpal's already finding I'm very upset. Only Lewis looking for that backline, but what can he do against the constant damage? Nothing. The Ascendant will get caught out. That Zhonya's Hourglass going golden does manage to buy him enough time though, and MG Piglet coming in with the Shockwave will find Alpals, but Muxtar's still alive. He's able to kite around, and once again the Zhonya's this game not doing work. A beautifully timed Mystic Shot to the face sees MG Piglet going down as soon as he comes out of stasis, and that's another one fight here by 7 men. This time an ace as they trade 2 for 5 here. I'm going to consider that 2 for 5 because Seaman went down way before that one. He got caught out, and they're going to look to instead get Baron for themselves. And for the first time this game, as 7 men are now drawing almost dead even here. Will be even after they pick themselves up the Baron. Actually, it's now a full 1,000 up actually after that Baron, giving a bigger influx of gold than I expected. Muxtar didn't quite get his base off there. Will be cancelled. He's going to go back and he's going to look to purchase even more items. 2,000 gold in his pocket after getting so many kills. He's now picked up a Mortal Reminder as well. So we'll have that much more armor penetration, cutting through what little armor there is on the side of MG Nitro. And when you have these sort of two teams who don't build tank, only the support's really somewhat tanky, it just comes down to who bursts harder. You can see how quickly these fights are as well. There's no extended trade. It's pretty much people just getting burst down and who can keep their carries alive. But in these sort of trades, Alpals with the extra health he gets from the Andries and Rylai's, as well as the healing, the lifesteal he gets, you can see how advantageous that is in these fights. Muxtar as well with the Death Dance as well has additional tankiness, and now it's gonna be 7 men looking to win this one, looking to close out. As for MG Nitro, what are they supposed to do right now? They've lost their last 2 major team fights. Coordination there from 7 men. 7 men, 2 wards apparently, because they do drop double control ward almost exactly onto each other here. But yeah, what can MG Nitro do at this point? It's looking a little dicey for them. They aren't winning these team fights, so they need to continue looking for catches because 7 men aren't completely together. Team In once again opting to go on the side. He's looking to split push this bot side and take the free gold there, and MG Piglet was not the right person to send. You can see he's already down here with that Kayn ultimate. Where can Piglet go? Nowhere is the answer. He's going to get bursted down. Bush going back into lane, trying to 1v1 Only Lewis, but he probably can't win this one even with the burned up minions. Meanwhile though, that does give his team freedom to go into the enemy base. They get the inhibitor turret, they get the inhibitor as well. And Bush just needs to stall here. He's got a crap ton of baroned up minions coming in. The longer he stalls, the better here. And Team In pushing that bot side. He got 2 turrets in rapid succession. They're now looking to crack yet another inhibitor turret here. And with Muxtar, with that Trinity Force, this is not that Frostborn Gauntlet. It's going to give him even more offensive stats. They shred that down. The Baron power play is huge. They went from being in a deficit up to about 3,500 up in terms of gold right now. So that's roughly what, a 4,500 Baron power play here. And they can easily fall back, pick themselves up yet another Inferno Drake. Earlier I did say they had the potential to get 4 Infernos, and Inferno stole here. I was honestly not expecting at that point in time, but it's actually very feasible, and that will get them a nice completely a complete boost of 16%, which is sizable here in terms of attack damage and ability damage here. They do have to be careful though. They still can't seem to answer Only Lewis in a 1v1 here. So Only Lewis able to pressure that top side. I'm not sure it was the right choice for him to go on pressure top instead of defending with his team instead, because they did end up losing 2 inhibitors. But either way, what's done is done, and he does manage to still pressure and look for advantages. And if we look at the gold lead, despite now being down about 2,500 gold for the side of MG Nitro, that top lane still has about a 4,000 gold gap for Only Lewis, which is absolutely massive. In the jungle, they are pretty even, about a 400 gold lead for Teemin, but at this point in the game, that's next to nothing. Anything below about 1,000 gold really doesn't mean much. And a Throgar looking for that catch is exactly what they need to do, but he can't find it. That's an Ezreal, he's slippery, and there's just no damage to follow up. And so MG Nitro burning another big ultimate here will not be available for the next minute or so. The mid lane as well, Alpal starting to find a huge lead, about a 3,000 gold lead for himself in the mid lane, and it's manifesting in those items here. MG Piglet with that Orianna, great at burst, but not good enough to take down Alpals in the 1v1. And in the ADC position, Muxtar starting to come online. He did get bullied around in the early to mid game, but this is now the mid to late game here, and Muxtar has started coming online. Built the QSS for himself as well. Not sure that's necessarily the best build. Really only going to be useful against the stun from a Very Upset as well as the fear from a Throgar. A Throgar looking to run away, but no ghost this time means that he actually might not be able to get out here. Teemin chasing after him, but it's buying time. Unfortunately, the question though is, what are you buying time for here? The Throgar definitely looking like he's out to safety for now. And 7 men need to not get distracted. They already have the inhibitors down in the mid and bot lane here, so really the only place they can look at is that top lane. Baron should be up in about a minute, Dragon in 3 here, but that's still a ways away. And it looks like they're just gonna wait for that Baron buff here. So yeah, a bit of a disappointing finish to the Baron buff, but they did have an epic start to it. They got themselves the 2 inhibitors, and that's more than enough for now. There is a ward over the bush. We'll be able to spot the Ascendant out, but they don't care. They're strong enough. 7 men have already shown they can win any full 5v5 team fight, so they can just confidently shove this one in. They get the inner top lane turret finally here after they group up and take that one. All the lanes are pushed up. They don't have to worry about Only Lewis here. They've got super minions covering their backs in the other 2 lanes, and they're going to look to brute force this inhibitor turret here. But inhibitor turrets are some of the toughest turrets to take. They could just stall this one out because Baron's coming up in about 10 seconds. The supers are coming in. It's forced MG Bolt to leave here, and that's the bulk of their sustained damage. The only concern for them right now is Only Lewis. If they do dive, Only Lewis is extremely fed right now. Can look to sort of stall out the dive. But Muxtar playing it very, very careful. He's not getting really any turret damage whatsoever off here. Just mostly poke with those Mystic shots, but they don't do all that much at this stage of the game. Instead, they're going to back off because Baron has spawned. And we take a quick look at the vision right now. MG Nitro has a total of 1 ward outside their base right now. And they're being shoved in everywhere. So they have no way of matching this Baron, even if they know it's being done. And Baron is getting shredded down to half health already. A throw guard running in. He's just looking for that final play. He's going to do this one blind. And unfortunately, he just couldn't quite get the timing. That will be Baron going once again to 7 men here as they prepare. They go back to base. They're shopping for that last final push here against MG Nitro. And barring a monumental, colossal throw right now from 7 men, MG Nitro not looking like they have really any way of coming back on their own right now. They do, however, have 1 last fight, and if they can make that 1 last fight, 2 last fights, 3 last fights, 4 last fights, they might actually be able to come back in, but just their composition doesn't scale quite as well as 7 men. But at 35 minutes, they get a kill. It will be about 40 seconds in that Death Chamber period. They can look to try and push. They won't be able to win off 1 major team fight, but they could look to get advantages and look to push another and another. Now Inferno will be coming up in about 15 seconds here. Looks like MG Nitro might choose to fight this one. I don't think this is the hill they want to die on here. While a Inferno is painful, it's not the end of the world. I'm very upset having to blow his flash really early, but he's still corralled into a really bad position. Cannot get the blast cone off, and he will go down. This should mean no hope at all of securing that Drake. Here, Teemin coming in there looking for a throw guard. Can he pull off the Great Escape once again? Maybe he can. There's a blast cone back here, but unfortunately he will not be able to do it. That's now 2 down. 7 men pick up their 3rd Inferno Drake. They're still sitting on Baron, and they can look to end the game right here. And MG Nitro, Brighton Bush teleporting, having to flash away immediately because he was sat in the middle of 3, but the heroic entrance coming in, it does stop only Lewis, and that means he's going to go down. MG, Boat, and Piglet both having to flash away. The command shockwave comes out, it stalls them out, but not enough because Brighton Bush was right on him and does manage to take that out. MG, Boat putting out the damage, will find him, but Mookstar's there, and Mookstar's fed, getting revenge for all the damage and all the bullying he had to sustain in games 1 and early game 2 here. They're going to take down, I'm very upset, padding their kills here, and that's the Nexus finally going down. 7 men firing back in game 2. They managed to even up the score here, and ladies and gents, it's looking like this series is a lot closer than game 1 led on. Well played from 7 men as they even up 1-1 here, and Mookstar coming in huge. He's 12, 3, and 10 right now on this Ezreal, and it's showing its value. Yes, it does sort of struggle in the early laning phase, but should you be able to get past, say, that 20-25 minute mark without MG Boat getting too fed, it just outperforms the Kai'Sa here. And MG Boat just couldn't do anything, had no presence in the endgame, which is really unusual for MG Nitro, as they do often play through their AD carry, who has been such a huge force for them throughout the series, and LPals as well on this Cassiopeia, holding them in through the early and mid game. Not what you normally expect from a skilling Cassiopeia, but he managed to do it. Absolutely huge. Teemin on this Kayn as well. I think a much better pick than the Rammus. You do need Teemin on some sort of early game presence jungler who can do more than just CC here. So going into the next game, I think 7 men have sort of found their stride. From MG Nitro, I am sort of expecting maybe a Cassiopeia ban, because LPals is showing it's a lot scarier than his Echo here. So I am looking to see that as well, and maybe put MG Boat on something that scales a little bit better. Perhaps we'll have to see what they opt to do as we go into an intermission break now while we prep for game 3. It's basically almost a reset. You can look at it as almost a best of 3 now between MG Nitro and 7 men, and we've been here before. Can 7 men beat the Titan that is MG Nitro, and can MG Nitro get revenge here for their week 1 loss against 7 men? Stick around and you'll find out.